Welcome everybody to this webcast where we're going to take a look at the evolution of Power BI into your complete data intelligence platform. My name is Andy Lazenby. I'm a data and AI consultant here at Thorogood, and I'm joined today by my colleague Joe Pilney. For those who aren't aware, Thorogood is a global independent data and AI consultancy operating globally, but Joe and I are based in our London office. Here's the content of today's presentation. I'm going to start by taking a look at the Microsoft Power BI tool that we all know and love, where it's come from and what it offers to the market today, before handing over to Joe to look at a couple of really interesting use cases extending Power BI with modern artificial intelligence techniques. So we'll first start by looking at the Microsoft Copilot offering, the kind of off-the-shelf option, as well as then taking a look at a custom large language model-based solution where you can build a more bespoke, customized, organization-specific solution. And then towards the end, I'll wrap up by taking a look at how Power BI is evolving now into the Microsoft Fabric modern data platform solution. So first, that Power BI tool, the market-leading data visualization tool. I use that phrase because it is the dominant tool that we see in our enterprise organizations, the customer base in which we operate. You know, it's there with Tableau and Click and many others, but it's there in pretty much all of the organizations and often as the preferred option. It's also, in many of the analysts' view, the leading product in the market. People like Gartner with their Magic Quadrant analyses for analytics have had it up there in the top right leaders quadrant for a number of years. So what is it? Well, in essence, it's a semantic modeling engine and some reporting capabilities. So the Power BI semantic models, where you can ingest data, model that data, present it to users in such a way that makes sense for them, aligned to business dimensions, for example, so they can slice and dice and interrogate the data. And then capabilities for reporting, dashboarding, scorecarding, perhaps paginated reports if you're doing more detailed kind of operational reporting. And there are over 160 data source connectors available out of the box, including flat files and APIs that generally let you connect to pretty much any data source you might conceive of. And with 160 out of the box, it's unlikely you'll find a data source within your organization that you can't pull data in from, albeit it is more oriented towards structured data that you can put into tables and then ultimately a dimensional model than semi-structured and unstructured data, which we'll come on to talk about a bit later. In terms of the visualizations available to you within the tool, there's over 40 standard viz, but there's also a library of community developed visualizations that you can go and you can build your own as well using the software development kit available. So really some rich and very customized data visualizations available within Power BI applications. And then you can consume the outputs, consume those dashboards and reports in the desktop tool, in the web portal, powerbi.com, in a secure organization specific area of that for your organization, on mobile devices through apps for tablets, smartphones, etc. Just a quick look on that left hand side first then. So how do we ingest data into Power BI in the first place? Well, you have the Power Query interface, this top screenshot that you might be familiar with. You can point at a variety of data sources, pull it in, and then do some cleansing, some transformation, some modeling. It's a point and click interface, fairly intuitive to use, but with the ability to use formulas and some code in there as well. And then the semantic model view to the bottom right, where you build relationships between tables in order to tell Power BI how to use dimensions to slice facts, for example. And it uses a particular language, data analysis expressions or DAX, for some of the more complicated calculations. There's all sorts you can do with that language in terms of the kind of calculations and how you get the best performance out of those. A few screenshots here of some of the perhaps more advanced visualizations available to you, things like geographical analysis, in addition to, of course, line charts, bar charts, scatter plots, the kind of standard stuff you'd expect to find. There is a root cause analysis visualization, something that Microsoft actually acquired when bought ProClarity some 15, 20 years ago. And then the Q&A, the natural language interface that they introduced about 5 years ago now, I think, where you can use natural language to ask questions of your Power BI semantic model, and it will try and answer those with out-of-the-box visualizations. And then your outputs can be surfaced, as I said, to desktop and web portals, but also integrated into applications. Microsoft Teams, Microsoft SharePoint, Microsoft PowerPoint, all enable you to embed interactive Power BI outputs within them. So it's not just a snapshot, it's an interactive view that you can slice and dice and click and filter with. You can also use Excel to point to a Power BI semantic model. So you're not even pulling the data into Excel, you're querying, you're using Excel as your interface to query the data that actually stays and sits in that Power BI semantic model. So for users that like to work in Excel, finance users, for example, that's a really neat interface to use. Some of the more advanced use cases that are being enabled in Power BI and have been enabled in recent months and years, we looked at the Q&A and root cause analysis on previous slides. We have things like key driver analysis, key phrase extraction, sentiment analysis. You can do predictions, you can do forecasting, you can integrate with Python and R. So if you want to build your own machine learning models, or you can also create visualizations in those languages and then surface them back into Power BI. And you can integrate with external machine learning models, maybe hosted on the Azure ML platform. Now, we'll be exploring some of these and similar use cases, the next level up really, with artificial intelligence, large language models in our next couple of use cases. So I'm going to hand you over to Joe now to first talk about Microsoft Copilot and think about how that Microsoft offering can help to extend your Power BI applications.
Thank you, Andy. So let's first take a look at Microsoft's out-of-the-box assistant, Copilot, and how we can extend Power BI with natural language interactions and insight generation. So first of all, let's just take a look at what Copilot is. Copilot is an AI-powered assistant that is seamlessly integrated into Power BI that is designed to accelerate data analysis and report creation using natural language. With Copilot, users can simply ask questions in plain English or any supported language for that matter, and instantly generate visuals, summaries, DAX formulas, and even full reports. It helps speed up report development, streamline workflows, and enhance decision-making across teams. If you're a data analyst or a business user, Copilot makes interacting with data more intuitive, boosting productivity and delivering faster and smarter insights. So whether you're a seasoned Power BI pro or someone just getting started, Copilot empowers the user to build faster, smarter, and more insightful reports using natural language without any code required. We'll now move into some demonstrations of Copilot in Power BI and explore two key capabilities. First of all, how Copilot can be utilized to help create reports, both with assistance and fully from scratch. And secondly, how Copilot can be used to deliver some insights and produce things like executive-ready summaries. So let's say you're working with a sales data set and you want to create some measures, maybe something like total revenue, profit margin, or year-on-year growth. Traditionally, it would require knowledge of DAX, but with Copilot, we can simply do it with a prompt. So if I navigate to our DAX UI, we can ask it to create a measure that gives me the operating profit for the previous year, and I will let that run. So here I'm asking Copilot to create me a measure to calculate previous year's operating profit. It's automatically understanding the fields in my data set and is going to produce the appropriate DAX formula. Note that this is a raw gold level data set that hasn't seen any development in Power BI, meaning that there are no measures that have been created. Whilst Copilot has processed that, it's also worth noting that it's understanding the context, meaning that it knows table relationships and field types. So you're getting intelligent model suggestions from your prompt. This reduces the barrier to advanced analytics by enabling natural language-based measure creation. As you can see here, once created, you can simply edit, you can tweak, review, or directly apply it to your report. After some development, a data model should have enough measures that visuals can now be created. And I'll now switch to a more developed version of this exact same data set that has all the required measures already created, and we can start creating some visuals. So with our data set now loaded, let's take a further step and ask Copilot to generate a full page for us. Here I'm asking Copilot to create a sales performance dashboard, and let's watch what it produces. It's worth mentioning, like before, that Copilot is tapping into the Power BI semantic model. It's not just throwing random charts together, it's going to select relevant visuals, calculate appropriate metrics, and align them with best practice in data storytelling. This means that even if you're totally new to reporting, you're starting from a professionally structured layout. So here we go, we can see we've got KPIs like turnover, gross profit, and sellout volume. So let's now pivot from report creation to some insights generation. So I'll now switch to a more developed report, again using the exact same data. So a key value of Copilot is its ability to spot what might be missing and aid in ironing out potential gaps in what a report recovers. So we can ask things like, what questions does this dashboard not answer? And it's going to return me some intelligent suggestions, such as missing time-based comparison or a lack of customer segmentation. And this is going to help you adopt a more iterative approach to your report development. And it's effectively like a conversation between you and your data. Once a report has been fully developed, Copilot is also there to give you some insights into your data. And we will just let this load and we can see what insights it's provided. So some things that it's spotted that this dashboard isn't answering is things like, what are the sales out value for sub-Sahara brand family, or what is the count of customers with a month-over-month sellout or a volume flag of 1? So these are things that we might not have thought about, or we might have thought about and disregarded, but it's still some very, very useful insights that Copilot has provided that can aid in our report development. So if we could also use Copilot in a scenario where your leadership team needs a last-minute quick briefing, you can just ask Copilot to provide an executive summary of the report, as I will do here, and it's going to return a clear narrative with things like overall sales trends, standout regions perhaps, possibly lagging products, and key movements in performance. Copilot writes these summaries using its understanding of the metrics and visuals in context. It's not just describing the chart, it's actually interpreting them. Another scenario Copilot can assist with is preparing for things like stakeholder meetings. And you may want to go into your stakeholder meetings with an output like this. So you have a brief summary here, you've got showing the sales forecast, and it's actually referencing the visuals that are on screen here. And you've got a brief summary of your KPIs with turnover, and again, it's actually referencing what your output is. So another thing we can do with Copilot is to ask it to, again, summarize this report and also go a step further and ask it to provide a bulleted list of questions a leadership team may ask. So these kind of prompts can really help with anticipating a room and help to prepare answers in advance. And let's have a look what it is going to output. So here we've got some key questions that a leadership team may ask, such as how can we replicate the success of the bath and shower sector in other sectors? So as I mentioned, these are some really, really important insights, and again, help you anticipate the room as to what questions may be asked about these reports. So hopefully this demo has helped to demonstrate what Copilot in Power BI has to offer. From manual report building to conventional conversation analysis, you can create dashboards, derive insights, summarize for execs, and even evolve your reports, all using natural language, making advanced analytics accessible to everyone. So now that we've explored the built-in capabilities of Microsoft Copilot, let's shift to custom AI solutions and why building a bespoke AI experience might be the right fit for your organization. Before diving into the solution itself, it's important to consider what approach is taken for the design of solutions like this. When designing custom solutions like this, we like to adopt a methodology of looking at both ends in. We assess the business needs and how we incorporate those with the data sources available, ensuring that the solution meets all of the requirements. So let's begin by exploring a few compelling reasons why opting for a custom AI solution can offer significant advantages over out-of-the-box tools like Microsoft Copilot. Firstly, custom-built AI gives you access to a broader range of models and providers. This flexibility allows you to choose the best model for your specific use case, whether you're optimizing for speed, accuracy, or cost efficiency. Now, while Copilot is easy to activate and can be developed very quickly, it currently offers limited flexibility when it comes to branding and user interface design. With a custom solution, you can fully tailor the experience, aligning the visual look and user flow with your organization's design standards and audience expectations. And in just a moment, you'll see exactly what that looks like in our live demo. Another key advantage is control. When you build your own AI architecture, you're not tied to a single vendor or locked into a specific toolset. As new and better models emerge, whether they're more cost-effective or offer improved performance, you can adapt and integrate them on your own terms. Custom AI also enables you to inject richer, domain-specific context into your solution. Instead of relying solely on generic training data, your AI can join proprietary documents, structured business data, or even visual inputs, significantly improving relevance and precision. So now let's bring Power BI into the equation and look how it can complement a custom AI solution. By leveraging your Power BI reports, users are more likely to trust and adopt the AI. They're already comfortable with the visual style and interaction patterns. Reusing those reports also means you don't have to spend extra time rebuilding dashboards, duplicating logic. This not only accelerates development, but ensures your AI solution aligns with enterprise reporting standards. A custom integration also allows you to maintain full control over visual design. Your branding, your style, your styling seamlessly integrated into the final product without any compromises. And importantly, with a custom AI solution, you can implement stricter safeguards to reduce hallucinations. By limiting the types of responses models are allowed to give, you help preserve trust in your outputs and maintain the credibility of your insights. Now, let's just zoom out for a moment and compare Copilot with the custom solution that we're about to demo. So yes, building a custom solution requires more time and investment upfront. Copilot, by contrast, is ready to use with very minimal setup. That's a real benefit when speed is a top priority. However, today's Copilot doesn't support interaction with pre-built Power BI reports, which can be a major limitation for organizations that already have mature reporting ecosystems. Our custom solution, on the other hand, integrates directly with that existing content, providing deeper insight and continuity. When it comes to design, Copilot-generated visuals are functional, but they are standardized. Custom-built products offer a much richer, more tailored experience, aligning with your specific needs and audience. And finally, custom solutions are built to evolve. You can add new features, understand capabilities, or switch to newer AI models as the market changes. Copilot will certainly continue to improve, but its roadmap is controlled by Microsoft, and that means less flexibility for your team in the long run. All right, so we'll now jump into a demo of our custom AI solution, and in just a moment, you'll see me interact with the data. The system will interpret my question and respond with a relevant answer. It's not going to stop there. It's also going to bring up a dashboard that visually supports the response, helping to contextualize the insight. Behind the scenes, this is powered by what we call an agentic AI. This means that when a question is asked, the model can choose from a set of predefined control paths, giving it flexibility in how it responds while still staying within the guardrails we've set. And just to clarify, the data here again is using exactly the same dummy data set from the previous Copilot demos. So we are comparing like for like as we show how this custom experience works. So let's take a look. So on screen now, you can see the UI for the custom AI solution, and I will start by asking it a question and we can look at the output. So I will ask it to show me a sales overview for 2024. You can see here I'm asking a very similar style of question using natural language than I did when I was interacting with Copilot and asking to create reports. However, as you can see, the output is vastly different. The chat panel on the left will give me a brief response, giving me value to answer that information, but the custom solution is then going to supplement that with a Power BI report. I wanted your attention to the look and feel of the reports, as these are much more organized in comparison to the ones that Copilot produced and has fit into the predetermined style that we have set by the product requirements. Also, as this is a custom solution, we can also communicate with it using our voice. Show me the year-on-year sales growth for 2024.
Your report is now ready to be reviewed.
So this is an incredibly powerful feature and allows the Nova solution to interact with you using your voice. I will go ahead and ask some more questions to it to hopefully illustrate how we can do a deep dive and gain some key insights into regional performance. Can you show the sales overview for Austria in 2024?
The total sales value for Austria in 2024 is 13.22 billion euros. For more information, please refer to the report on the right.
Except in this scenario, it is filtered to Austria. It's also key to point out that I can interact with this dashboard as I would with any other dashboard. So if I wanted to specifically look at earth tones here, I can click on earth tones and it's a fully interactable Power BI report as any report would be. We can then go on an even deeper dive and explore our data further in order to answer some key business questions that we might have. Can you show me the top 10 products in Austria?
Your report is now ready to be reviewed.
So as you can see here, this is a predefined output that we have specified previously, and it's giving us our top 10 products here and some predefined graphs that we've asked it to produce when we're asking these type of questions. And I can go even further now and ask a slightly more specific question. What is the impact if we increase sales for the top 10 products by 50%?
Your report is now ready to be reviewed.
So the analysis you'll see on the screen here is completely customized, and it's very important to call out that we are not just leaving this up to the LLM to decide what to do. This means that when we are asking these complex analysis questions such as these, we have specified what statistical models to use and which variables to use, something that is simply not possible with an out-of-the-box solution. So hopefully this demo has been useful and has demonstrated some of the possibilities that a custom AI solution can bring. I will now pass back over to Andy, who will explain a little bit more how Fabric can come into this.
Okay, so to wrap up, let's have a little look at how Power BI is evolving into this end-to-end modern data platform, which Microsoft has branded Fabric. So they're looking to unify the data engineering, data science, data visualization capabilities that you might have seen and accessed previously through Microsoft Azure and Power BI. Now, this product came to market right at the end of 2023, so it's a little over a year in the market at this stage. To go back to a visual that Joe shared with us a little moment ago, the way that Thorogood thinks about designing solutions in this space is what we term both ends into the middle. So on the left-hand side, we can see the kinds of use cases and applications that you might develop for end users, reporting and dashboarding, chat, natural language interactions, some of those demos that have just been shared. Over on the right-hand side, the very wide variety of data sources that might exist that you might wish to use in your decision-making practices. So standard structured data sources such as ERP and CRM, but also semi-structured, unstructured, the likes of PDFs, images, audios, transcripts of audios, etc. Now, Power BI very much a narrow view on this entire landscape, focused on the kind of reporting, dashboarding, visualization aspect of use cases, using its semantic model, which is a multidimensional model to hold and model that data and present it to users, and drawing upon primarily structured data sources. In the evolution of Power BI now into this modern platform they've termed Fabric, we're opening up to many, many more use cases, many more sources of data, and additional ways of storing and modeling and holding that data to enable those more advanced use cases that we're starting to see. So Microsoft present their Fabric offering in this way. So you may be familiar with Azure Data Factory for data transformation, data ingestion, data engineering workloads. So that's now being integrated into the platform, as well as the data SQL Server type databases and Azure Synapse type data warehousing at scale, multiple parallel processing approaches. So data engineering, data warehouse, and data science workloads as well being supported through notebook interfaces, for example, which we'll show you in a moment. You could also handle real-time data, pulling that through literally in real time and pushing it into reporting and other end user applications. Power BI is still there as a fundamental part of the platform. They've also got some industry workloads that they've developed, kind of off-the-shelf templated offerings for certain industries, and that part of the solution is growing over time. The Copilot capabilities that Joe shared earlier is integrated into Fabric, not just in Power BI, but you'll find it in some of these other workloads as well. And all the data sits in what they're terming One Lake. It's an open source platform. It uses Delta Parquet file formats, and it holds that data for all the different database, data warehouse, lakes, and lakehouse type data repositories within the platform. And it's also integrated with Microsoft Purview. So that's the data governance and data lineage tool from Microsoft, helping to build trust in the data that's held on their platform. So some of the experiences, the user interfaces that you see within the Fabric world, well, Data Factory, you can build pipelines and flows connecting to a vast array of data sources up in that top left-hand corner. So a visual way of building pipelines and transforming your data. Then the lake houses, the warehouses, the data repositories, they'll look very much familiar to you if you are a SQL Server user for an Azure SQL user, for example. Up in the top right corner, perhaps less familiar to users, might be the notebooks interface. So here you can use Scala, SQL, Python, R, pick your language, make use of Spark for the Spark engine gives you great scalability and performance. And you can run your queries in notebooks for data ingestion, data transformation, and also advanced use cases for artificial intelligence modeling and the like. And then there are some visual query editor type interfaces, more kind of end user business analyst type interfaces where with a drag and drop you can build up a query, build up a SQL query through this drag and drop interface. A neat way of interrogating your data if you're not an SQL expert, or even if you just wish to use a graphical interface to build your SQL before then refining it manually. As well as then the semantic models that we're familiar with from Power BI and machine learning models from the Azure ML world. Now, that was a very quick look at what Fabric is, and we've got some more materials that you might be interested to reference if you'd like some more information. If you have any questions about what we've covered today, the use cases that Joe shared there for artificial intelligence, for example, please do reach out to either Joe or myself. Our details are on screen here. On our website, under the Perspectives Hub, you'll find a back catalogue of content, and I've picked 3 Fabric webinars here that I think might be really useful if that's an area you want to go into in a bit more detail. We also run some training courses in partnership with Microsoft, which are termed Fabric Analyst in a Day. We've got one coming up in the US in a couple of weeks' time. We'll be adding more regions and more dates in the future. So please keep an eye on thorogood.com/events and come along to one of those events. That Fabric Analyst in a Day event is a really good one because Microsoft actually provision a Fabric environment for you to work with. So you don't need to bring your own licenses. You can come along for the day, work through the training materials guided by our consultants using that Microsoft free license for the day to get a feel for the product. Okay, with that, I'd like to thank you all for your time and would love to speak to some of you, so please do reach out if you have any questions. Thank you.